The learning Zilu Nishmas Etta Ahuva Tamid Perik Beis Mishnah Biru Misham Atzi Te'inim Yafa. After they set up the Maracha Gedola, they took from there, from the Lishkas Ha'itzim, fig trees. And Rashi in Zvachim on the Nun Chesam and Aleph brings the Tamagoda Sheboy Hoisa Takana LaAdam Harishim, where it says over there Vayas Lahem Chagurais, which were from Te'ina. L'sada Maracha Shniyat Mi Masada, the second Maracha L'Ketoros, for the Ketoros. And the Gemara in Yuma Daf Memhei Amen Aleph explains the Makar that there had to be a second maracha for the Ketoros on the Mizbeach HaChitzin. From there, they took out the Shloisha Kabin to put onto Mizbeach HaPnimi to be makter the Ketoros on it. In that Gemara in Yuma Daf Memhei Amen Aleph, there's actually three shitas. The first shita is that there were only two marachas, which the Mishnah Tamid only mentions two, but then there's a shita of Rabbi Yossi that says that there was a third maracha for Kiyum Eish that was on the Mizbeach, and there was a third shita, Rameir, that says that there was a additional fire for the Evarim U'Pedarim Shaloi Nisachlu Be'erev. Our Mishnah, at the end of our Mishnah, is going to say that they put those Evarim and Pedarim on the Maracha Gedola. And the Mishnah Gemara over there explains the Makar for all these Marachas. That's in Yuma Daf Memhei Amen Aleph. Where was the Maracha Shniya? Mechineged Kerem Aravis Droimis, Moshe P'mana Kerem, Kalapi Tzafin Arba Amas. So it was right when you went up to the ramp. We said the Maracha Gedol was on the right side. This was on the left side, in the southern west corner, and it was 4 amas away from the Kevish. And that's the discussion in the Gemara in Zvachon on Nechesam and Aleph, according to the Mandamar that says the Mizbeach was in the Tzafain. So then half the Pesach of the Azara was in the Tzafain, and the other half, the other 5 amas, were by opposite the ramp. So going back to the 5 amas that were opposite the Mizbeach, 4 of those amas you couldn't have put the Maracha there because you needed an amma for the Yisoid, an amma for the Seiviv, an amma for the Mokum Kronos, and an amma for Mokum Raglei Kayanim. But in the 5th amma, that's where they were able to put the Ketoros. And the Gemara says how the other Manda Omra will learn that. But that's the Manda Omra that the Mizbeach was in the Tzafin. How much coals were there? How much wood did you need? So you needed enough wood to come up with coals of 5 sach. That's what they were mishayir that you needed for the to take those coals into the Mizbeach HaPnimi to be makter the Ketoros on it. You only took 3 kabin, but that was the amount that you needed to be on the Mizbeach. And on Shabbos, there were actually more. You brought in more wood to have more coals, to get 8 saw worth of coals. Why? Shesham hayunosin shnei bezicha levayna shalechem apanim, because the bezicha levayna that were on the shulchan were brought and were makter on this fire as well. So you needed more coals to be makter those shnei bezicha levayna. The Mishnah then says, Heivarim u'pedarim shalei nesachim be'erev machzirin oisan l'maracha. After this, they took the Eivarim and pedarim that were not totally consumed, which we said were on the side. We mentioned in Mishnah Aleph, they were b'seiviv ala kevesh, and now they put it onto the maracha. So now just to clarify, the pashtus of the Mishnah was that it was done now, we're still before Alois HaShachar. But the Mefarish, we spoke out then in Mishnah Aleph, said that it had to be on the side because it would be possibilina, and then he said you're not allowed to do it until after the Tamid, and that's the Mefarish over here also explains that this part of the Mishnah wasn't actually done now, it was only done after the Tamid. Other Rishonim argue and say that it's not considered part of the today's Avodah, so therefore you could do it before the Tamid. It's really the completion of yesterday's Avodah, so you would do it now. Another thing that the Mefarish mentions is that our Mishnah doesn't mention anything about the Shnei Gizrei Eitzim. Now, besides the Maracha Gedola, the Pasuk says in Parshas Sav that the Kohen took 2 Gizrei Eitzim and put it onto the Mizbeach. The Gemara in Yuma, in the Sugya on Daf Lamed Gimel and Aleph, Abaya have a Masada Maracha that we say every morning, explains that was done right after the Maracha Shniya, where we're up to now in the Seder. The Maracha Gedola came before the Maracha Shniya Shel Ketoros. The Maracha Shniya Shel Ketoros came before Siddur Shnei Gizrei Eitzim. And then the Siddur Shnei Gizrei Eitzim came before Disha Mizbeach HaPnimi, and Disha Mizbeach HaPnimi came before Atavas Chamish Neres, which we're going to get to. So at this point was the Siddur Shnei Gizrei Eitzim, but our Mishnah didn't make mention of it So the Mefarish just says that it took place at this point, but the Mishnah doesn't mention it. And after that, he tzisu shtei marachas be'esh. They lit the two fires, these two marachas, the maracha gedol, the maracha of the keteres, v'yardu abol lahem lishkas hagazos. Then they went to lishkas hagazos for Perek Gimel to do the second pious of the day. Other Rishonim learned that the shtei gizur yitzim was included in what we said previously. But again, from Abaya having Masada Maracha, it sounds like it should have been at this point. Perek Gimel Mishnah Aleph Omer Lahem HaMemuna. The Memuna told them, and there's a Machlekes Rishonim who the Memuna over here. Rashi says that it's the Skan. This is also the first Mishnah in the third Perek of Yuma, which is called Omer Lahem HaMemuna. But Taisus and Yuma over there on Daf Tezvav Amud Beis brings from Yerushalmi that this Memuna was not the Skan. Rather, it could have been the one that was doing the pious from who we called the Memuna in the last parak. Or in Parak Aleph Mishnah Beis, we said, Achiyaveh HaMemuna. So he said, Bo, Vefisu, let's make the pious Mishaychim Mizarik. Who does the Shchita? Who's going to do the Zrika? This Mishnah is similar to a Mishnah in Yuma at the end of the second parak on Daf Chav Hey Amid Aleph. And over there it says, what about Mikabel? And the Gemara over there says that the Zarik was the Mikabel. The Gemara over there also on Daf Chav Hey Amid Aleph explains why it had to be in the Lishkas Hagazos and it couldn't be in the Azara because they took off the Mitznefes. And that's how they knew where the lottery started from. By the way, the Magen Avram and Reish Pei Beis Oisches brings a raya from here that you could stand with your head uncovered. As it's only walking without a yarmulke that's a problem. So those were the first two. The third one was Mi Medashem Mizbeach HaPnimi, who's going to clean the Mizbeach HaPnimi. The fourth one was Mi Medashem HaMenorah, who's going to clean the menorah. And then Mi Male Varim Lekevesh. In this, there were 6. Harosh v'Haregel was the 5th kohen. The Gemara in Yuma again goes through the seder of bringing up the Ivarim. It's like a 4-way machlokes, but the Gemara says over there, Kuli alma mias rosh karag reisha. Everyone holds that the head of the animal was the first thing brought up. So one kohen had the head and the right foot. Shtei yadayim is the 6th kohen had the 2 front legs. Ha'ukitz v'Haregel and the left leg was the 7th kohen. Hachaza v'Hagera is the 8th. Chaza is the front of the animal, and above that is the gera by the neck area. The 9th kohen was the shtei defan, that's the 2 sides of the animal. The 10th animal had the kervayim, and the soilus chavisin and yayin was the 10th, 11th, and 12th kohen. Soilus is the flour for the minchas nesachim of the tamid. The chavisim is half the isaron of the kohen gadol that was brought with the tamidim b'chol yoyim, machatzisa b'beker, machatzisa b'erev, and the yayin was the 3 lugin of nisech that was brought together with the tamid. Altogether was 13 koyanim. The Mishnah in Yuma speaks out over here. It doesn't say that. Efisu zacha misha zacha. Once they made the pious, whoever was zeicha was zeicha. Rashi in Yuma says that it was one pious landed on whoever was zeicha in shchita. Then shuvein pious l'shar yud beis avodas. You didn't do another 12 elakonim shemukafan liyamina. The ones that were circled around on the right side, nimshachav acharav went after him, kefi seder mishnasenu.